Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. I'm your host Harpreet Singh from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. In today's program, I'm going to take you over to Toronto where my guest is Arvinder Kalsey, who's a well-known credit counselor. And our focus of our talk today is going to be on the economic conditions that are prevailing in Canada and are we heading towards recession? What are those things that we need to keep in mind, especially during this turbulent phase? And today, let's get over to him and learn from his wisdom as to where we stand, what we ought to know, and what we should do. Let's welcome Arvinder Kalsey ji. Mr. Kalsey, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here, Preet, and very good evening to all your viewers.
Thank you, Ji. So let's start off with the present conditions that are prevailing. The gas prices are again reaching new records, and especially in Metro Vancouver. Gas has touched $2.41, which is the highest in North America. Mr. Kalsey, in my previous program with you, when I had a talk with you, at that time the inflation was standing at 7%. So now it was said at that time because the gas prices had gone down, the inflation also was going down. But on the other hand, right now with the prices of gas rising, there doesn't seem to be any respite for the increasing prices of commodities. Where do we stand? What's happening in Canada?
Well, as you said rightly, the inflation rate which went down from 8.1% downwards was the only reason was that the gas prices went down, and based on that, the calculation showed us that the inflation is down. But now, if we look at carefully, other than gas prices, nothing else has gone down. Rest everything is prevailing at the same standards what we used to see earlier. So now, as you said, in North America, BC is the highest rate what we are seeing now, as well as we also are hearing about that the prices overall is going to go up for the gasoline. Mm-hmm. So I believe if it happens again, we'll be touching 8% again. Whereas for now, if we talk today, the inflation is showing us at 7%. That still we are holding on to 7. Mm-hmm. But again, on ground zero, again, when I say ground zero, I'm talking about a common man. How is he being affected? Mm-hmm. And this is always to show the public as to how we are controlling the inflation, whereas the interest rates are going up every now and then. And we are expecting, again, the inflation, because of inflation, the interest rates are going up. So I would say there's not more or less much of a difference, but everybody's trying to holding themselves so they can get through with these tough times.
Mm-hmm. But what's happening? What is the major reason that the prices are not being controlled? Because Bank of Canada's major purpose of increasing the interest rate is that people don't spend much money in the market. But if we go out, we are still seeing the restaurants are full, people are spending. And the purpose why these interest rates are being raised, probably we are seeing it's not having that impact what the Bank of Canada had probably expected. So what do you think? What are the major reasons that the prices of things are not coming down and rather they're going higher? On the other hand, when we talk about the global supply chain also, there also we are hearing that now the prices of containers are coming down. So why is that not being seen for a common person at the grocery stores?
Let's not forget, Harpreet, one thing, that what changes today, by the time the real effects comes in, it's almost 30 days to 45 days. Even as you said, that the supply chain rates are going down. But say if a container starts from China today, by the time it reaches here, it's 30 days. So based on that, we cannot really mismatch or match the pricing as of today. Now, based on what you just said, that when you go to the restaurants and other places, the malls, you see people spending money. Now, where is this money coming from? Mm-hmm. Actually, this is all money which we saved over the COVID time. People are so damn upset and frustrated. They just want to get out and they feel relieved a little bit by going out, spending money, which they are forgetting one thing. But this is the time we need to have liquidity and we should have some funds in our pocket. Mm-hmm. But again, you cannot guide everybody on this point. So people are spending left and right. People are buying things without understanding that if something like a recession happens tomorrow, where do we stand? Mm-hmm. So based on this whole scenario, what we just painted right now, I believe things are not that good so far. This impact, which is happening right now, is going to go take us into 2023. maybe in the middle or till the end. And if you see the US market is pulling, economy is pulling good, no doubt about that. But on the other hand, if you look at the housing market down there, they have surplus houses, no one to buy. In other words, when we see all these things, they are correlated to each other. And the impact on these things is so great, but by the time it's going to hit everybody, a lot of people are going to be surprised as to what happened and what not. So I would say 30 days, 45 days before anything really happens to us or people start feeling it. So that's the main issue down here at the moment.
Right. So, as you very rightly said, still it's going to take some time for whatever changes are coming to be reflected on the grocery shelves. But what is happening in the Canadian economy? We're also hearing that the government now again is pumping in more money in the form of some, dental care expenses and other things. So if that money gets pumped into the market and the Bank of Canada, on the other hand, keeps on increasing the interest rates, which is expected, because just recently in the United States, rates were increased again by 75 basis points, and we generally follow
Right.
the United States. So how is this going to impact the market as such?
Well, Harpreet, I would say one thing. Do pardon me saying we follow a lot of different economists who keep on talking about a lot of things. To me, I personally feel most of us are confused. We don't really understand how the markets are driven at the moment. You see, normally when this kind of a recession or things like this happen, job markets are low. But
Yeah.
if you look at job markets right now, they're climbing like anything. There are a lot of jobs. But there, in case you look at the unemployment at this point, unemployment is sitting around 5.4%. So having 5.4% unemployment and the jobs available, we don't find people for the jobs. So that is one of the reasons why this whole thing is happening. But again, I would say we are all confused. Doesn't matter if it's US or it doesn't matter if it's Canadian or international markets. Nobody knows what's happening at the moment. Everybody's trying to deal with this moment. So at least they can drag on this till the next year or the following year. And whereas on the other hand, when we look at the World Bank, they say recession is imminent. It
Right.
is going to happen. In other words, a lot of economists also say we are already in recession for the last 2 months. But the point down here is, do we acknowledge it? We are not acknowledging yet on the government basis, where we can say openly, yes, our country is in recession. And if we look at the economy, well, normally recession is when our GDP is shrinking down.
Right.
But on the other hand, it hasn't shrunk it that much, other than 0.1% or so much like that. Whereas the US economy has gained a lot.
Right.
Gaining that, but still inflation is the same. The inflation rate at this point with the US is 8.1%. So all these things are correlated, and especially let's not forget, US is Canada's big brother.
Oh, yes.
Anything happens there, it affects us for sure. So in other words, our main business partner is US. If the economy, the inflation is there, and the prices have gone up, and based on that, USD right now is very strong. It's very strong dollar, but whereas Canadian, we are sitting at 0.72 today.
Right.
We are sitting at 0.72.3. In other words, 72.5% is our value towards USD, whereas USD, and most of the imports are in USD. So USD is killing at the moment all over the world. Rather bashing out all the currencies all over. Doesn't matter, pound sterling or is Canadian dollars or rupee even. Indian rupees. Just imagine where the Indian rupees is today.
Right.
So overall, USD is playing a major role in what's happening around us.
Okay, wonderful. It's time for a short break. Let's go for a break. We'll be shortly back and we'll continue with the discussion. And I'll come back again to that point where I asked you that, Mr. Kalsey, while on one hand, the rates are going up by the Bank of Canada, on the other hand, the government plans to pump in money into the market. What happens in the market then when on one hand the rate of interest have gone up and people are paying more for their mortgages or other expenses, but on the other hand some money will start coming into their pockets? Are we not heading to that situation where during the COVID people sitting at home getting money from the government and the consequences of that what we saw? So what do you predict about that? We'll learn from you after this short break.
ਹਰ ਰੰਗ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋ, ਹਰ ਮਾਡਲ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡਾ ਕਰਮ ਹੈ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾਉਣਾ, ਸਫ਼ਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਖਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਬਸੰਤ ਮੋਟਰਸ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਕੇ।
है जुल्म ढाने का अंदाज भी कितना हंसी, हमारी जान पर बनाई है जब जब उसने अंगड़ाई ली। कभी खामोश रहते हैं, कभी शोर होता है। मोहब्बत में शरारत का मजा कुछ और होता है। दिल को जज्बात का तोहफा, खामोशियों को बात का तोहफा, खूबसूरती में जड़ी नजाकत अदाओं की चांद से मुखड़े को चांद सा तोहफा।
भारत ज्वेलर्स, सच्चे प्यार की चमक जैसा। पायल बिजनेस सेंटर सरी।
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ, ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
Once again, welcome back to the program. This program is being brought to you with the support of AMC Insurance. If you're looking for home, auto, travel, business, life or recreational insurance, they have 9 branches in the lower mainland to serve you, and they're open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. onwards till 9 p.m. For more information, call 604-507-6666. Our guest today is Arvinder Kalsey from Toronto, and he's a well-known credit counselor, and he has offices all over Canada. And our focus of talk today is on what are the present economic conditions in Canada, and also what is happening in the world that can have an impact in Canada. Let's get back to him and continue with our discussion. So Mr. Kalsey, before the break, like you were mentioning the present scenario, what is existing and what is happening. But my question to you regarding the pumping of money by the government, on the other hand, the interest rate hikes, how will the market respond to this?
Well, first of all, let's not forget there has been, lately, there have been few changes. You know, the new conservative leader, which has come out, he has been very vocal towards liberals at the moment in the parliament, saying that you guys have spent money left and right, and you have loaded people with debt. So this is one part of that. Now, coming back to the other part, what you just said, now pumping money into the economy is not a solution where we can say, okay, we are going to print another $1 billion or $10 million or whatever the amount is.
Right.
And people, these are freebies. If we are going to do the same thing over and over, what's going to happen is that people are going to lose control on everything, understanding that, well, the government is there to give it us. Now, if you look at the other part, the long term would be the liberals would like to pump in more money because the forthcoming elections, they want to make sure that people are still happy with us.
Right.
They don't think that, hey, this has been a negative thing. The liberals have really loaded us with a lot of debt. So all these things are impacting right now. Whereas most of the economists, I would say, are not in favor of this thing, that we should pump more money into the economy, which has got no basis. You know, printing money is not a solution. It's how we create the infrastructure. Where do we spend money? How do we create jobs? And those are the practical things which I believe the government has to look into. And for a long, long time, I would say Capitol Hill has been not looking into that direction other than funding money. End of the day, the bottom line is everybody's trying to secure their own seats. I'm so sorry to say, as a politician, they are not looking into other people, that how things should be taken care of. But end of the day, again, it's the government policies. Whatever they want to do, they are doing it. And especially working with NDP also, they had some commitments with them to support them. In that lieu of support, even to fund the economy and to keep the programs running, you need money. And I believe they're raising money by printing more and giving it out to us.
Right. So probably, again, short-term gains might be there, but future in Canada, it's going to be dangerous, because the way the debt is increasing, and every household is getting more under debt, and that is where you specialize, which I'd like to talk in the last segment. But before that, I would also like to touch China also. Now, what we are hearing is that China is trying to squeeze the Western democracies, the way they are playing their game. And again, China is again shut down. COVID, threats are being cited. But what actually is happening? On the other hand, we are also hearing that China is buying in every country now. So, can you elaborate on this? How this is having an impact on Canadian economy or the Western democracies?
You see, first of all, let's not forget, China is a smart player. Their economy is entirely, you see, inflation rate in China is 3%. So they still are holding to their jobs, and everything is going smooth with their own economy at this point. But we do hear certain things that the economy has been hit hard with jobs, losing jobs, and a lot of things happening. Now, when we are two players, two strong players, one is going to win and the other one is going to lose. And that's the only reason why US is playing with their USD, making it stronger and stronger. On the other hand, what China is trying to do, they say offload all USD because they can pump in a lot of money by offloading USD, which they already have. And they are going to buy their own currency, which is going to be quite a bit of liquidity into their own economy. So this is where they are playing at this point. And other than that, as we have been listening for a long time, in terms of the Ukraine war and the Russian war and Taiwanese, whatever is happening, all these things are going to impact us. But China, as of now, is at a good place. Good place means they are playing safe. They don't want to lose everything. They don't want their economy to be hit hard with the jobs and other things. And I think playing safe, it's an even battle for both the places in terms of US and the Chinese economy. But Chinese economy is affecting overall the worldwide also, because let's not forget, almost 65% of the commodities which are everyday use are being manufactured in China. So if that is happening, they are not manufacturing that much. The prices are going up. So technically, in terms of inflation also, they're contributing quite a bit why this whole thing is happening. And most of the countries are losing grip on that.
Right. On the other hand, I would also like to touch now the housing market and the stock market as such. And all over the world, whether it is Australia or China or USA, people are feeling the pinch of that. What is happening to these markets particularly? Why is it that the market has, absolutely kind of gone down for these two things?
Well, certainly, first of all, keep in mind, investments, stocks, or the main markets are played by huge investors. The investor is feeling unsafe today in terms of the way the economy is being handled at this point. So most of the investors are pulling out money where they feel that they might be losing a lot. As soon as you pull money from the markets tumble down. They go down, and that affects a lot of people. Now, these are all hedge fund investors, which has got billions and billions of dollars. People like me or you, we are small fries in this game, which feel the crunch right away. Because they can have losses, they can write off losses also, because there's a provision in their system. But whereas a small person who has got a portfolio of, say, $1 million, if he loses 70, 75, right now, the markets are down almost 80%. 80% out of $1 million means 800,000 you lost, and 200,000 is portfolio value. That's a big, big, big blow. And especially people who are playing on margin money. In other words, margin calls. As soon as a margin call comes in, what happens is they start the sell-off. So it is both ways it's going at the moment. What I would say is, in this recession or this kind of times, it's a great moment to invest. Invest means people have got liquidity, who have got money of their own. They are not borrowing money. They have their own, because you get a thing at a half price or a quarter price. For example, a share which was being sold. Let me take you down to Novax, which was a COVID-19 medicine, which got huge funding from the US government even. One point, the share of Novax was trading at $320 a piece. Today it's sitting at $18. So you see the value difference. But now Novax is going to go nowhere, because COVID is still there. It's going to be around. And if today I enter Novax with $18, you can imagine how much I can buy. But I need to have money for that.
Absolutely.
So it is both ways. There's an opportunity for people, and there is a loss for people. One thing which I will highly recommend is anybody who's having a loss at this moment, if they are not on margin money, they should hold on to that.
Right.
Reason being, as of today, it's just a paper loss. Paper loss means it was $100, today it's $20, I lost 80, but I didn't sell it.
Right.
But the moment I sell it, the loss becomes eventually a practical loss.
Right.
So I would recommend anybody to hold on to the stocks market, especially. Now, as far as you said about the housing one, housing right now, I would say it was a correction which was happening at this point, and it has certainly happened. And there is a possibility, most recently, even CMAC have come out with a report saying that they are expecting that there could be a correction of another 10 to 15%. Now, 10 to 15% is a huge margin.
Yeah.
The property is already sitting very low at this point, and this is an opportunity for people. But the biggest thing is, Harpreet, which is very sad at the moment, we are looking, because this is our main business here.
Right.
So what we are looking at a lot of bankruptcies happening right now.
Right. So,
People
Mr. Kalsey, that's what I was about to touch, but it's time for a break. Let's go for a break. And, it said that markets see a cyclical trend. What goes up comes down, and what comes down goes
Right.
up eventually. But because we have been seeing your phones have been ringing constantly, and you've been trying to help people, pass through this phase. So in this last segment, how all this translates for a common person, that's where everything counts, because big talk about the economy and everything, people are not concerned about it. They are concerned about how it's impacting them and what they should know and what they should do. You have touched the stock market a little bit, but as far as the housing market is concerned, I would like to talk a little bit in details, and we'll focus on Canada only, because whether it's Toronto or Vancouver, it's the same, probably the way that things have exploded are now settling down, but people who got stuck in this explosion are the ones who are suffering the most. What is happening?
Right.
What should people do, and how they can pass through this phase? We'll talk all about this just after this short break. Please keep on watching the Harpreet Singh Show. We'll be shortly back, and we'll continue with our discussion with Mr. Arvinder Kalsey.
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ, ਅਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
ਵੈਨਕਾਸਾ ਟਾਈਲ ਅਤੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਟਾਈਲਸ, ਸਟੋਨ, ਮਾਰਬਲ, ਬੈਕਸਪਲੈਸ਼, ਮੋਜ਼ੇਕ ਆਦਿ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਟਾਲੀਅਨ, ਸਪੈਨਿਸ਼, ਚਾਈਨੀਜ਼ ਪੋਰਸਲਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਰੈਮਿਕ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਜਾਂ ਮਾਰਬਲ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਆਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਲੀਅਰੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮਾਲਕ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਇੰਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ 13042 84 ਐਵਨਿਊ ਸਰੀ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604 330 7363 604 330 7363। Once again, welcome back to the program. This program is being brought to you with the support of Agnihotri Immigration. If you're looking to come to Canada, you're a student, you want to know about immigration issues, you can contact Neera Agnihotri of Neera, who's been a certified immigration consultant since 2006. She assures you of reliable and honest information. Please call her at 604-597-2284. 604-597-2284. We are talking today with Arvinder Kalsey, who is a well-known credit counselor, and what we are talking about is what is happening in the Canadian economy, what's happening in the world. Are we really heading towards recession? And what is recession for a common person? So let's get over to him and learn in the last segment as to what the common person needs to know so that they can sail through this crisis. So Mr. Kalsey, while there's a lot of talk about recession, you talked about the World Bank saying that it's imminent, it's coming. But for a common person, what would recession mean? What happens in a recession?
Well, technically in recession, what happens is that your dollar value shrinks a lot. In turn, the dollar doesn't go too far. For example, till yesterday, if I was buying something for $1, today I'm spending $1.40 or $1.50. And we normally say that, well, the prices have gone up. But technically, if you look at the buying power of your dollar has gone down, it's decreased. And that is because of inflation. Now, coming back here, when we say inflation to a common man, how does it mean or how does it relates to them? First of all, a common man doesn't know nothing about inflation. He doesn't know about your numbers as a government. If you give us 7%, 8%, or 5%, the only effect on a common man is how much food he can put on his table. The bottom line is, hey, I've got $10. How much I can buy with $10? But now $10 doesn't go that far. So technically, I'm feeling that crunch. I'm feeling hard with the money part, how to feed my family, how to look after my other expenses. So the common man is badly hit on this matter. And unfortunately, the dollar value has gone down.
Right.
But on the other hand, my income hasn't gone up.
Right.
I'm not getting more money. I'm getting the same money, but I have to buy everything almost 30% high rate. So if I'm going to buy 30% high rate and my dollar is going to be more, I have to spend more money to get the stuff in, you can imagine what a crunch a common man will feel.
Right.
Now, when it comes to your daily expenses, because keep in mind, food is not only the expense.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of other expenses. We are talking about gasoline. We are talking about other expenses, the other commodities which we buy for our everyday life. They have all gone up. So that is the biggest problem which normally a common man is going to face. Now, based on that, when we talk about the house, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, please. You're talking about the housing market, and that's what, because your phones have not stopped ringing, and I've been hearing that you are mostly busy talking to people about, you were talking about bankruptcies. So what is happening in the housing market, and what recommendations would you like to give to people now?
The Stats Canada most recently, Harpreet said, more than 100,000 people have defaulted on their credit card payments. In other words, the dollar is shrinking down. When I don't have money, how am I going to make my minimum payments towards credit cards? Just imagine for a second that if this starts happening with the mortgages, that we are defaulting on mortgages, what can happen? In other words, if the mortgage is in default, bank doesn't care whether you're going to lose your roof on your head or whatever happens. They're going to come down and take your property away, which is a foreclosure, or they're going to recall their mortgages.
Right.
And which is a very sad part, which more or less, if you want to ask me, what is your forecast? I would say by March, you will see a lot of people going down. They won't be able to pay off their mortgages in terms for every month. If you go in default, what kind of effect you're going to have? So to get out of that, the only source left is to file a bankruptcy because it's a huge debt on you. People have bought it for 10% or 20% margin. In other words, they've got 80% of mortgage. How are they going to pay off that mortgage? What are the resources where they can bring this money out and pay it to the banks or any creditor? So the future, I would say, is pretty bleak. It's going to be very, very, a lot of people are going to feel embarrassed about this, but unfortunately, this is the way the economy works. And we are having tons and tons of calls right now. Please help us what to do. Can we negotiate with the bank, bring our interest rate down? I say, hey, forget about that. COVID was a time when they gave you 6 months break. But right now, nobody's going to give you a break. And the governments are not even supporting for people who cannot make the mortgage payments. So end of the day, I would say, you can default on anything. Please don't default on your mortgages.
Right.
Because once you default on your mortgages, banks are not going to wait for a minute even, because as soon as you are in default for 2 months, third month, they send you the notice and they want to take over your properties.
Okay.
And they do not have that kind of a soul where they can feel pain for you. So please try not to default on your mortgages. And apart from this, if you've got a pile of debts, which you think that I cannot service your debts, I can promise you, we can save your house, still we can take care of the debts also, but nothing will happen in terms of your property's gone. So please maintain that. And if you're having loads of debt, call us. we can certainly sit with you and give you a tailor-made program where we can address your debts but still have your assets safe. So that is something which we specialize, and we have been doing this for a very long time. And first of all, Harpreet, the most important part is what commitment I'm giving you, can I deliver? That's the key to our business.
Absolutely. And also it is within the law. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Nothing happens out of the law because we are not upper than the law. Law is there, but we have to see what kind of benefits we can get to you, because sometimes there are a lot of programs available which you are not aware of. So being aware means that if you need professionals, then only you get to see what are the programs available and how we can address them. So I can promise you that we can certainly help you in these kind of situations even. The only thing is you have to reach out. Absolutely. And also, when I say normally, we are just a phone call away. Phone call away means that you make a first call, and believe me, this could be the most happiest or most worthwhile call for you to build up your future again.
That's very important, because this is the time when everybody is worried, or somebody is absolutely, the debts have gone beyond their head. It is a time when professional advice is required, and for that, as you have mentioned, you are just a phone call away, and the phone number is under the screen as you are seeing. You can call anytime to Mr. Kalsey and learn as to where you stand and what needs to be done and how you can come out of this crisis. Mr. Kalsey, it was a pleasure talking to you. As always, you are loaded with information and you advise our listeners and viewers about what they should do. Thank you very much for your time and best wishes. Anything in conclusion you would like to say?
Well, thank you, Harpreet, for having me. The only thing I would say, please don't hesitate. If you're in a situation, don't think you're the only person dealing with that. There are tons of people like you. Just make a call, log on to our website, bscc.ca, and you will see what things can change for you over a phone call. And I think that would be the most beneficial thing to have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. And I know you're going for some vacation, but of course your offices will be working. So enjoy yourself, and hope to see you soon again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So today's guest was Arvinder Kalsey from Toronto, and the focus was what is the economic condition in Canada, and are we heading towards recession, and how this is going to impact a common person. And as he very rightly said, a lot of people, not just you or me or anybody else, a lot of people are under this duress right now as to what is going to happen in the future. So if you are loaded with debt and you need some advice or help, please do call him, and he'll be there to assist you, and his offices are located all over Canada. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. It's a pleasure having you on the show, and if you also want to be a part of this program, you can contact me at 604-603-7555. The purpose of this program is to educate you, inspire you, and to empower you. Once again, thank you very much. Have a safe evening. Stay healthy and enjoy yourself.
ਸਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਮੇਅਰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਬਣੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਤੇ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਵਧੇ, ਟੈਕਸ ਘਟਣ, ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਵਧੇ ਅਤੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਦੀ ਮਨਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇਜ਼ੀ ਆਵੇ। ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਰੀ ਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਸੁਖ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ। 15 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਰੀ ਟੀਮ ਨੂੰ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਕਰੋ।
I'm George Harvey. I'm the mayor of Delta, and I'm running for re-election. I have lived in Delta for over 40 years. Spent my life here, raised my family here. Now I get to enjoy the playgrounds with my granddaughter, Rania. What drives me to keep going is my passion to help people. It's always been that way. We've done a lot more since my term, but we need to do even more now. My vision for Delta is that we're a thriving, inclusive, safe community. One of my achievements that I'm very proud of is the North Delta Community Track. That's an example of how I can put people together to get things done. It's a great success for the community, and I've got many, many more to do. One of the other accomplishments I'm really proud of is the Ladner lacrosse box. We're putting a cover over it, making it usable year-round. People ask me why our recreational asset's so important. It's what makes the community strong. When you go out to our facilities and you see the parents involved, the youth involved, children that are not hanging out on the streets, they have somewhere to go. But it's that community spirit that keeps a community strong, and it's a good example of why we're so strong in Delta. I want to ensure that when this journey is over, that my grandchildren know that I did everything possible to ensure Delta continues to be a very great place to live, one that is free of discrimination. They need to have the opportunity to be whoever they want to be. They need an opportunity for housing. They need an opportunity for transit. That's my goal, and I'm going to get it done for you. I am so proud of our Achieving for Delta team. It shares my passion and my vision for what's best for Delta. On October 15th, vote for the entire Achieving for Delta team.
We're here at the Newton Ice Arena, and as you can see, this is a really old building. This is probably the oldest ice arenas in Surrey. It is in desperate need of an upgrade, but not only that, we need to have more ice surfaces in Newton for the youth. Surrey kids and Surrey families want to play hockey and ringette and figure skate in this city. We need the facilities, and we need those facilities now. We're here today at the Pyle Business Centre in Surrey, and you can see it is a real example of what multiculturalism means to us in our city. The challenge, however, is we need better parking here, we need better traffic control here, and we certainly need better access and egress to this facility. So here we are again in Newton, and as you can see, potholes are all over the roads of Newton. We need to fix the assets we've got. We need to make this a 4-lane road, and we need to make proper sidewalks for good public safety. You can see we're here today at the South Surrey bus loop. It is time to get transportation all the way down here to South Surrey. You know, every part of this city is in desperate need of transportation. We need to run rapid bus or SkyTrain. We need to run transportation networks all the way through the city, through Newton and straight down here to South Surrey. A Surrey Connect team will make sure that we work with TransLink to get the best service we can for this area and this region.
My name is Jesse DeSanja. I'm running for a Delta Council. I live in Delta for almost 40 years. We raised our children in Delta, and now I'm enjoying my time with my grandchildren and youth of Delta. I'm a head coach with the Universal Athletics Club. We founded in 2000, and that club started from 2 athletes, and now we got about 200 athletes into that organization. Being a good coach, you need to be a teacher, you need to be a father figure, you need to be a friend, you need to be a psychologist. And the most important is that you serving back to a community, right? You shaping the youth into our right directions. My biggest priority is to keep a youth on a right track and advocate for a healthy lifestyle. And I like to see how I can serve into that direction. We need to have resources for active lifestyle. We need to have a more investment into a sports field. George is an excellent leader, and he knows how to get the things done. For example, North Delta track is one of the best track in Lower Mainland. Under his leadership, he brought all 3 levels of government together, make a better team to serve better to a Delta. I was very honored to be elected as a trustee for Delta School Board. I see the position on a council as my next step to serve to a community. I'm proud to be a member of Achieving for Delta teams. That team achieved a lot of accomplishment, and I'm looking forward to continue. On October 15th, please vote for me and Achieving for Delta team to keep our Delta safe and healthy.